We got one.
I'm like that with pumpkin pie.
No, it's my first Marvel movie. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, you got to see a Marvel movie in theaters." So I'm like, "Okay, I'll go see Spider-Man."
Maybe they should have been in there because I have some opinions on why Georgia is in the playoffs. They should not be in the playoffs.
Oh my god!
Why should
Not
they?
you.
They just lost. Welcome to the Beer and Sports Podcast, brought to you by the Fins Talk Network. I am your host, Josh Kimmel. With me, special guest host Dave Steger of the Huddle and Up and Wait podcast. You can find him Thursday nights at 8:15 p.m. I think it's 5 Pacific time. How you doing, Dave?
Apparently I'm Stave.
Well, I saw the S and then I saw the D, and I'm like, Stave is cool. That'd be a cool name.
Stave.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for coming on the show.
Of course.
Glad
to be here.
Good, yeah. So if you're a viewer and you're wondering where Wingate is and why I'm on this side of the screen, it's because Wingate had some personal issues going on with his family. Pray for hip, please. He's going to need it. Josh, if you're watching, we love you.
We love you,
Great
buddy.
friend. We're thinking of you every single day. But we're going to get into some crazy football because I know that's what Josh would want to listen. I bet you he is watching. And he even texted me today, Josh, I told you this was going to happen last week on our show. And he was right about that. But first, we're going to get right into the action. Dave, wait, hold on. You asked if you can crack a beer. You did, didn't you? Did you bring a beer?
My beer is upstairs in the man cave. My kids want to sleep in the man cave because it's a pull-out bed and they want to sleep on it tonight. So I forgot to grab one when I came downstairs. I would love to grab one, but I forgot to grab one.
Hey, no problem. Because, as you guys know, 2023 will be beer-free for me. But I did drinks last night. I drank a couple shots. I had a couple beers watching the Dolphins game. They made me do it because, gosh, could not stand that game at all. I don't know if you want to get right into that. I think we should, since we are part of the Fins Talk Network. And this is a pretty big, crazy game that nobody expected. Not one person. My first thing for you, Dave, is Buffalo in trouble?
That Von Miller injury hurts them really bad right now. I know they have a lot of depth there, but Von Miller's a game changer. We saw that with the Rams last year. They traded for him, and literally within less than 1 year, helped to bring home the Super Bowl. He was a big part of that. So I feel like also losing Micah Hyde for the season was a big one. I mean, I know they got Poirier back there, but Hyde and Poirier, it's that PB&J, man. They work so well together, and they have other guys that have stepped up in the time being that Hyde has been gone, but it's just not the same. And Buffalo with Skylar Thompson slinging the ball, Mike McDaniel moving the ball down the field on them. They got Joe Burrow and the Bengals, man. Joe Burrow is a whole different beast. This is a whole different animal with all those wide receivers. There's way more weapons on that team than Miami. No offense, Dolphins fans, but it just is what it is.
I just don't understand. If you had Teddy Bridgewater in there, like, I believe the Dolphins would have a better shot. I mean, they had everything go right for them. They had everything you need to beat Buffalo. They had a defensive touchdown. They had a bunch of turnovers. They had the ball with a chance to take the lead, with no time left, pretty much. You want to see that. If you can give your team a last-minute drive to win the game, you'll take that every single day. Unfortunately, it kind of went up in smoke due to some issues on the sideline. I don't want to, in case my kids are watching. They had everything go right for them, the Miami Dolphins, and then to still lose a close game like that because of maybe poor management, clock management. His rookie, he had a very young, inexperienced quarterback in there, very inexperienced head coach in that position. It just was a disaster, and I just think Dolphins fans will remember this for a long time as a season that should have been, and that's it. Just it should have been, and it sucks that it went up this way.
Well, everyone can say that, like, Teddy and Tua, if they were in, they could have won. My thing is, even with Teddy and Skyler these past couple weeks, and even December, after Tua's been out, they've been winless. So if Tua's even came in, and the month of December, he hasn't gotten a win with the Dolphins. So what makes me think that there's not going to be the same problems? The offensive line was having trouble blocking. I mean, the defense was allowing Josh Allen to create turnovers, and then all of a sudden come back the next drive and go right down the field within 30 seconds. Like once the Dolphins kind of took that momentum before the half, the Bills took it right back going down the field.
They did, and it was pretty much a heavyweight fight versus a cruiserweight. Like 423 total yards for Buffalo, 231 for Miami. They weren't moving the ball. Skyler was god awful, like probably one of the worst quarterback, performances in playoff history, in my opinion. It was that bad. But I can't say that if Tua wasn't in there, they wouldn't have a better chance. Obviously, the 4th and 6 play, the very last play, he just chose to roll out, throw it to Gesicki. Gesicki was being all tangled up. That it is what it is there. But Tyreek, if you just would have waited that split second, Tyreek would have been there, first down, change, and Tua would have made that read.
Yeah,
panicked and rolled out, and it happened.
I mean, that's what you get, and I can't really say all for all 7th round QBs because look at Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. He's doing well. So, Skylar Thompson, it just is what it is. I mean, Buffalo knew to put pressure on him as a rookie QB, and he's going to make those bad decisions. They fell right into the way the Bills wanted them to. And in tight games like that, the Bills are dangerous because not only do they have that amazing offense, they have a very talented front seven to be able to go and attack the quarterback and put that pressure on him. So, I mean, all props to Buffalo. They still came out in a very ugly game on their side because they still turned the ball over. They gave up big plays at times. I just feel like that Buffalo, they got to worry about some down the road, but it was still a nice, ugly game, so to speak.
It feels like Buffalo's been playing a lot of ugly games going down, the stretch.
Yeah.
And this isn't a Buffalo podcast and a Buffalo, but what do they need to do to move forward to have a chance against Cincinnati? And then if they beat Cincinnati, to play Kansas City. I just think this is a very weak team, struggling, but they have a very great, quarterback, probably the most valuable player in the league, take away Mahomes and a couple other players. I just don't see them winning against Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's just one of those teams that no matter what gets thrown at them, they ride the waves and they come out with their same game plan. They don't change nothing. But also, too, with the Bills, one thing that I do love about them is Sean McDermott adjusts. Their coordinators adjust in game, and Leslie Frazier does that on defense just as good as anyone. And if you were able to get to Josh Allen and rattle him a little bit, we saw that this Miami game. They were getting to Josh Allen. They were putting hits on him, making him second guess, kind of step forward in the pocket when he doesn't need to, or kind of roll out when he doesn't need to. Granted, he's a big old bowling ball when he runs, but it's the same thing. If you get him off his frame, you make him uncomfortable, he's going to make some ill-timed, ill-decisive throws. And he's been playing great in these games leading up to it. More turnovers have come in this game than most playoff success that he's had. But I don't know. The Bills are going to have to adopt this umbrella effect on defense, in my opinion. Be that kind of that Wink Martindale defense. The whole umbrella. Kind of make you beat them the long way instead of trying to the explosive plays over, because you've got Chase, you've got Boyd, you've got Higgins, you've got Hayden Hurst, who's becoming a weapon more and more. And then you got Joe Mixon underneath, and even Samaje Perine, who could be a receiving threat. So, like, there's just weapons galore, as I mentioned earlier, and they're going to have to come up with something because this is such a dangerous offense. And the Bengals, their defense is not as elite as the Bills per se, but I'm still going to sit there and kind of give the edge to them because their defense was holding a running QB, which usually is their weakness, to a pretty held down game against the Ravens the other night. So Buffalo's going to have to create that umbrella effect over that offense.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for them to contain Chase, Higgins, and Boyd, like you said. That's just too much. But all right, moving on to the very next game, because this is probably the best game of the weekend, I think. Jacksonville, Los Angeles Chargers. This game was wild. Like, we've seen so many comebacks this season. It's not the first one. We saw the Vikings do it. We've seen it. It seems like every week a team's down by 3 scores, and you're like, over. And then all of a sudden they just come right back. And that's just a bigger story, a bigger issue in the NFL. I think teams just quit running the ball. The Chargers ran the ball 7 times in the second half. 7 times in the second half. That's inexcusable for any offense with any lead.
When you have Austin Eckler, who is a touchdown magnet and is in the same realm within a 2-year span of Marshall Faulk, who was a part of the greatest show on turf. Like, that's elite company, and you're only going to give him 7 touches in the second half.
Oh no. He only had 5 carries. Joshua Kelly had 2. I wanted to bring that up. Yeah.
Sorry,
It was that bad. But it wasn't like Eckler was lighting the world on fire. I mean, they only averaged 2.9 yards per touch on the ground the entire game. So they weren't really getting much space with that defensive line. But you have to run the ball. That's a huge problem. And not just for them. Like I said, every NFL team, they just kind of forget they need to run the ball. I was going down the game log for the Chargers. I'm like, Herbert pass. I'm like, you're up by 20 points, and it's the third quarter. What are we doing?
It's like a new user in Madden.
Yeah. It's like my 4-year-old decided to play Madden. He's like, you know what? I have no idea what I'm going to do, but this play, when he goes deep, looks way more fun than run up the middle. So that's exactly what they were doing. I didn't give up on this game. Did you ever turn it off at any point?
I was this close because I've been a huge huddle up and wait. I'm a huge Jacksonville guy. I've always been that backer, and we have a guest on all the time by the name of Lori Fitzpatrick, and she does some Jacksonville Jaguars coverage. And I don't know. I fell in love with Trevor Lawrence coming out of the draft, and the Urban Meyer year was just a crapshoot. It was horrible, and the fact that came out with reading rumors that he's kicking players. And I'm like, oh my God, how is this guy not fined? How is he not suspended from the NFL indefinitely for contacting players? Like, I get it. NFL players go up, grab a face mask, yell at him, what the heck are you doing? I get that. But to go on and kick a player over in practice because you don't like something he's wearing, what? Like that's horrible to me. So the fact that the Jaguars within 1 year have rebounded to where they are now, and they came out from a 27-point deficit in that game. First year head coach with that team, not Peterson, a first year head coach, but a first year with the Jaguars, and Trevor Lawrence to rebound from the year he had in his rookie season is amazing. So I think the Jags I think a lot of people shouldn't be sleeping on them against Kansas City.
I think Trevor Lawrence has surprised everyone. He's become an elite quarterback in the NFL. Like, the second half of the season, it's unbelievable. The game against Dallas, the game against the Chargers we just saw, he just keeps his poise. Doesn't matter, 4 picks, whatever.
Water off the back.
Yep, just gonna go out there and we're gonna score. And if you watch it, those were Madden style. I know we just talked about Madden. Those were Madden style interceptions. Like, how the fuck did that happen? It really got tipped, then tipped again, and then it went into the air, and then the middle linebacker or whoever like that. Those were some very unlucky plays, and I feel like that they knew that going into the locker room. And they're like, okay, if the ball doesn't bounce those ways, like, we'd be good. So how about we just keep on playing our game? And that's the kind of cool Trevor Lawrence has always had, and he always will have. And I just love him for it. I think he's phenomenal. I want him on all my fantasy teams. I traded him away last year like an idiot.
You go in your Shane corner right now.
I don't want to tell you which quarterback I got in the deal back, but let's just say he's not going to play football again for the New York Jets. And it was pretty bad. Yeah, but I got some picks for it. I got picks.
Joshua.
It wasn't a bad look. It wasn't a god awful trade. It was like I got picks, I got players, but Lawrence was in the deal too.
So it's kind of like a Brock Osweiler deal where you just cut him with the picks. You're just gonna cut him loose later.
Hey, in that league, I came in second place. All right, so I rebounded nicely with my.
All right.
Yeah, all right. So anyway, I'll never do it again. I'll never roster Trevor Lawrence in Dynasty because he's gonna be too expensive. But I really would love him going forward. I know this isn't a fantasy show. But do you look at this as a Jaguars win or a Chargers loss? Because they do this all the time.
So that's the narrative. Chargers do this since Phillip Rivers, all the way back, even when they had Drew Brees. Like, it's been there for decades. So the fact that they can't get that off, it's kind of like the Packers. I mean, the Packers, I'm a cheesehead, and the Packers, Josh, no one cares about fantasy. Hey, whoa, sir, where are you? Why aren't you on the show? No, I look at it as a Jaguars win because everyone counted them out. They're like, oh, congrats, they made the playoffs, whatever. Kind of like how they treated the Seahawks against San Fran. Oh, good job, you made the playoffs after having a year that not expected. They came out and beat a team that was a pick for a dark horse for a lot of people to go to the Super Bowl this year. So Jacksonville is definitely a big one. Like, this is a big win for them. It's not just the Chargers loss. It's kind of both, but I'll definitely give the big win to the Jaguars more because if there was any other head coach in that locker room, I don't know if they do the comeback. Peterson is the perfect coach for that type of comeback.
Yeah, I love it. I love. By the way, we talked about Madden all the time. I want to see the play where you can just reach the ball over in Madden next year, because that is a fucking baller move to just snap it and go. I scored.
6'6".
I scored. Like
Done.
I felt like he had a superpower, like the Stretch Armstrong guy or whatever guy in a super. God, what is it? Oh, the Incredibles, the mom. Boop, touchdown. Or the dude in Street Fighter, the guy in Street Fighter that you can just do this all the whole time.
Fantastic Four.
Or oh yeah, listen. I like the Fantastic Four and all, but come on, are we going that low with our superheroes?
We're having about a 5th remake now in the Marvel universe.
Are we going down to that? The Human Torch, flame on, woo! Although I will say, Doctor Doom is my favorite villain in almost any superhero.
Yeah, I agree.
Dr.
Doom
Doom's
is very underrated as a villain.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But
great ride in Orlando Universal too.
If you're going to pick a Doctor Doom, I'm picking Brandon Staley, because he is like a really bad Great Value version of Doctor Doom. He's just Doctor Doom's his own team. That's his own problem. Like last year, they had a chance to go to the playoffs. He calls a timeout against the Raiders when Bisiaka, the interim head coach for the Raiders, goes, if he didn't call a timeout, I was just going to let it run out, go to a tie, and we'd both go to the playoffs. But the guy called the timeout, pissed off Bisiaka, and he's like, that's it. All right, cool. We're going for the win. Whatever. And went for the win. Got it. And Staley has now cost his team twice to either go to the playoffs and in a playoff game.
Yeah, it's rough. It is rough. I had high hopes for the Chargers. Justin Herbert, he's another young stud. I just don't want to see him go through coach after coach after coach. Like, I don't want to see that. I want to see
Sean Payton, please.
I'd be down with that. I'd be okay with that. That'd be a good spot. But are they going to give him control? Because that's what he wants, right? He wants complete control.
I mean, Sean Payton did it with the Saints, and he made it work as a sustained success year in and year out. Plus, he has a quarterback that can see over the old line now. Drew Brees, he had to design plays literally because he couldn't see over the old line. No, all in all, I think if you put a play caller and a scheme builder in that aspect of what the weapons they have, and Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, Joshua Palmer, and Carter, like, he's such a kind of underrated speedster that never really gets – he stepped up big time during that stretch to make the playoffs. So just all those – and especially Austin Eckler. It's Alvin Kamara on the AFC side, in my opinion, with his receiving ability and his running inside. May not be the same size, but Eckler fights like he's 6'3", 220 pounds. So I just feel if you put a coach of that magnitude there, watch out AFC, because there's a whole other team coming.
Right. Yeah.
But we don't know what's going to happen.
Speaking of valuable running backs, I think ETN was a huge addition for this team. And, man, what trust Trevor Lawrence has with ETN. You saw it down the stretch. How many times did you see that screenplay to ETN? And it's because, like, that's his number one guy. And you saw it in the locker room. They were right next to each other. It's just – I think it's a great – the NFL did that well. Devontae Smith and Hurts, and you had Waddle and Tua. Like, I feel like they're pairing all these guys, and that's a good thing, because you want your quarterback to feel comfortable. At the end of the day, if your quarterback says, hey, man, we need ETN out here, we need a guy I like that teams have been doing that. So I know Josh Wingate hates ETN. ETN is very valuable, Josh. I know you're watching.
Well, the fill-in Josh Wingate here loves Travis Etienne, because a lot of those running plays and those stretch plays where they needed to get the 3rd and 2 or the 4th and 1, Travis Etienne was bursting. I mean, use that burst he had at Clemson for those 2-3 yards he hits and then gets the first down, which is exactly what Doug Peterson needs in this offense, because he kind of had that main back for a while in Philadelphia, but then he transitioned to kind of a committee, and I like that JaMychal Hasty secondary back to him. But yes, Etienne did have a great game, and he was that lean on for Trevor Lawrence. And I love that Peterson never strayed away from his game plan. He still ran the ball, still hit the screens, made Chargers respect those flats, and it opened up the middle for a lot of catches.
Yes. If you're just tuning in and you're new to the network, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit the alerts to let us know that we're here every single Monday night, 8:15 p.m. Beer and Sports Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Josh Kimmel OUS on Twitter, filling in for Josh Wingate over here, Dave Steger. You see that, Josh? That's how you do it. You can find him up on a Huddle Up and Wait Thursday nights, 8:15 p.m. as well. We're gonna get to the last game. There was multiple games, but we picked the top 3 games in my opinion. And Minnesota. What's worse than being a Dolphins fan? What's harder? Being a Vikings fan. 1,000%. 1,000. Because at least, yeah, go ahead.
A little bit of rivalry hate here, and you know what? After hearing how bad the Packers season was, they went 8-9. I'm still going to say it. Skull still keep on losing. They're purple because they keep choking. It happens. I'm sorry.
It's at this point, I don't know what to say about this franchise. I don't know if they're cursed. I don't know I don't know. But I will say this: at least it didn't come down to a missed kick, and at least it wasn't Kirk Cousins' fault. Seriously,
I took a stab. Josh was like shake style.
At least it wasn't a missed kick or Kirk Cousins' fault. It was actually the defense's fault. I believe they made freaking Daniel Jones look like the next coming of Josh Allen. They made Hodgins.
That was Colin Kaepernick out of there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, him too. All the greats. And then Isaiah Hodgins is out there looking like the next Randy Moss, literally uncoverable. Hey, nobody can cover him.
Okay,
unreal out there. I couldn't believe it. Every time I looked up, him and Slayton out here, like I don't ever want to hear anyone complain that Rodgers or this guy or that guy has no weapons. Daniel Jones legit has no weapons, and he's still out here balling. At least
Richie
in the
James,
playoffs.
baby, Richie James.
Yeah, Daniel Bellinger, like the who's who of the receivers. Where's Kenny Galladay? Obviously, he's dead in the water. I just don't know how.
Hey, I saw him do a couple run blocks.
Yeah, I saw one. I just don't know how the Vikings defense is that bad, where Patrick Peterson can't cover.
Ed Donatel.
Seriously,
he is a horrible defensive coordinator. He was with the Packers back in the 2000s. His defense is a dinosaur. It has not changed one bit since I remember it playing in the 2000s. It is still exactly the same layout, and it just doesn't have the proper personnel. Like these, Harrison Smith has very little tread on the tires, and he's been playing for a long time. Eric Kendricks, the same thing. They're very talented players, but they're coming towards the end of their careers. I love those two guys, and then Zadarius Smith. You never see him get his hands dirty. Like you'll see him sack the quarterback, but if it's time to tackle the running back, he won't do it. Daniil Hunter didn't show up. I feel like these guys they paid all this big money to didn't show up. And Ed Donatel, their defense was atrocious. Patrick Peterson, time to hang it up, dude. You couldn't cover Isaiah Hodgins. You couldn't cover Richie James. If you're quote unquote still the same cornerback, you can still use your same type of play. Yeah, you may not have the speed, but your technique, you should still have it. That shouldn't be lost.
Yeah, he was beat time after time yesterday. The comparison I wrote down was Hakeem Nicks. That's who Hodgins. They must have watched a lot of Hakeem Nicks back in the day, because that's what he looked like, making these nice toe touches. Like he was so good back in the day. But
that 2-toe tap catch he had was beautiful. That was an awesome catch.
Yeah,
but hey, Saquon Love, show some Saquon Love. This dude bursted the Minnesota defense. That's how good Saquon was the other night.
Yeah, Saquon had not enough for me to win on underdog, by the way. He only needed 21 more rushing yards. I would have cashed big. But, hey, they got the win, so whatever. But he looked explosive every time he got the ball. Dude, the last drive, I'm like, okay, 21 yards. That's all you need, 21 yards. And they just threw. Like, same thing with the NFL. Why are they throwing the ball when you have Saquon freaking Barkley? Obviously, it worked because they won the game. But that was really frustrating. They're going into Philadelphia. Huge underdogs, I'm going to assume. Huge. Mm-hmm. I just can't see this Daniel Jones showing up again for this Philadelphia game. I just think this is the end of the story.
I mean, Brian Dable, Mike Kafka has done a wonderful job for what Daniel Jones was before they got there and how they transformed this offense. Saquon has looked like the back of old. And like you said, the weapons are – they don't have this Minnesota Vikings arsenal of players like Jefferson and Thielen and Osborne. They have guys that can get the job done, just not as higher talent. But it's not – no disrespect to them, but we just see it. It's just not what it is. I mean, I don't know what to say because rivals in the playoffs, you never want to see a team for a third time in the season. We saw it with the Saints and the Bucs a couple of years ago. Saints throttled the Buccaneers twice that season. Bam. Bucks come out and beat them in the playoffs. It's just, and I believe it was the same way with the Packers and Vikings when Randy Moss mooned the Lambeau crowd. That Green Bay beat them twice that year. They came out and beat the Packers in the playoffs. It's just, wow, Josh Wingate, Giants beat Philly. Calling it now.
He's already texted me about it. He's crazy.
So is Wingate in the beer a little bit? Is he having a beer with our show right now?
He might. He always enjoys a nice Dogfish Head, a 90-second IPA, where those things are called. But listen, there's no chance. There's no chance. I'm saying it right now. Even if Gardner Minshew starts the game, which he won't, they will still win. I just think they're more talented in Philadelphia. I think the Giants season was nice. It was fun. But in the end of the day, I don't see them as a Super Bowl contender, and I do see the Philadelphia Eagles as them, and I just think the Giants' run will be over. But there'll be things to build off on. You'll get those playmakers. You'll build with Daniel Jones. It's just anywhere but up after this, because this is the things you want to see. You want to see progression with your franchise. This year they make the playoffs. Next year maybe they win a playoff game and get to the. It's not going to happen overnight. Not every team's the Cincinnati Bengals. Just can't happen.
Oh, there it is. Official. The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, has entered the Royal Rumble. Josh, put your ears in.
No. I just. Is he on Raw, Bobby? Do we know if Cody's on Raw right now? Because
God, if he is, we're missing it.
No, I've already boycotted, but I did say he should show up to Raw because.
Looks like it's just an announcement.
Okay, just an announcement.
Okay.
I think he should show up to Raw because to build that whatever.
Sorry for the noise in the background, folks. My kids are getting yelled at by my wife. I'm kind of enjoying it right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, Dave, I do want to pivot a little bit to wrestling because we do have about 10 to 15 more minutes, and I know that you're a big wrestling guy. I'm a big wrestling guy, but before we do that,
I love wrestling as well.
I do want to get into the best performers of the weekend and the worst performance of the weekend from the NFL playoffs. Do you have that queued up? Because I have my best performer, if you're ready.
Best performer for you said this past weekend playoffs?
Yeah, yes.
I do. Go ahead.
Mine's going to be Daniel Jones. We just talked about it. I didn't rattle off his stats just because I wanted to save it for the segment. 24 for 35, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, 78 rushing yards on 17 attempts. Insanity. That was better than Colin Kaepernick's performance against the Packers. That's honestly one of the best quarterback performances.
You just had to stab me deep, didn't you?
It's just one of the best performances in a long time by a quarterback of that stature. I just can't believe he did all that. But again, he played against the Vikings defense, which gives up the booty to everyone. So, but hey, Daniel Jones, the goofy motherfucker. Sorry, excuse my language. The goofy motherfucker out of whatever college, Duke, I believe he went to. I forgot what college.
Don't disrespect Danny Dimes, okay? Rolling them bags of quarters and dimes out the bank, saying, "Count it, Tella."
Never. He's the most awkward. He's the awkward Josh Allen. Like he is. He is the awkward dude, but he has the talent. He's got the speed, but he's just so like, how does he move his body? I feel like his brain is a little delayed. He doesn't know, like, okay, brain, throw arm, throw the ball. He's like, throw the ball. He has to think every time he does something.
I feel like he's this great value version of like a Josh Allen and Eli Manning baby, and that's what came out. Like he is got so big, goofy clown feet. He doesn't know how to use them. He's like a baby giraffe because we've seen him fall over him before. And I mean, in the pocket, we've seen him fall down for no reason. And I mean, he got it done. I know it was Minnesota's defense, but he still got it done. I respect that pick a lot, but I'm going to ride my guy, Trevor Lawrence, T-Law, 4 interceptions. I get it. It was horrible in the first half, folks, but the guy still came out and put up 4 touchdowns in the second half to beat a dark horse Super Bowl team. And I mean, this is my thing about Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence. They have nothing else to prove, so they're the most dangerous, Josh. That's my thing. Like, they've already exceeded expectations because everyone's like, oh, they'll get 6 to 8 wins, and we're good with that. No, they took the division. They just beat the Chargers in the playoffs. I hope the Chiefs aren't looking over them. I really aren't because, I mean, I get how talented they are, but having that week off, we know can put some rust, maybe get you out of rhythm and stuff like that. And the Jags just have this thing about when they get hot, and it doesn't matter what time of the game, they're going. And Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he's one of the guys. I got to give this another honorable mention. Why Trevor Lawrence is he's a man of the people. He loves some Waffle House, man. I saw it online. He was out there mingling with the people, getting some Waffle House as a celebratory dinner. That's what I'm talking about.
I've never been to a Waffle House in my life.
I'm leaving the show. See you guys.
I don't know what a waffle. I've been in one. I've been in one, but I've never eaten at one. I'm more of a Steak and Shake guy. So we went to Steak and Shake.
Did you just order a water and that's it? Like, did you just tell the waitress, like, I'll take this water?
No, I walked in, I saw the atmosphere. I said, we're going to go to Steak and Shake. That's pretty much what happened.
Don't let the atmosphere ruin it. Just go sit at the booth and get the, I believe it was the Grand Slam breakfast. It's a waffle, bacon, eggs, hash browns, biscuit. Get it.
See, that's confusing. Isn't that Denny's? I don't know what's happening. I'm not a
Denny's
the
All-Star breakfast. So sorry, the All-Star breakfast.
The All-Star breakfast.
Yeah. Denny's is up north. Waffle House is down south. Yes. Go get the All-Star breakfast. It's like $10. Okay. Glass of OJ. It's worth it.
They opened a brand new one, literally by my house. Brand new. Like 6 months ago.
It's fate. Just go.
I'm gonna have to check it out eventually. All right, who's your worst performer of the weekend? I hate doing this one because I hate singling people out. This one's
worst
easy.
Performer. There's so many obvious ones, and I know it's the Vikings defense, but I don't know. I'm looking at it, and I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna go Seattle offense because they really put up a lot of points each game, and they really disappointed me a little bit because I thought there'd be a way better game going in with San Fran than what it was, and they just fell apart in the second half. I feel like Geno, DK, Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker, this is a loaded offense. There'd be no reason why they're not putting up points. I know the 49ers defense is elite, but still, you're there for a reason, and it went flat heartbeat in the second half. There was nothing.
Yes. So mine was split, but I'm going to pick out one person. I'm going to go Skylar Thompson easily by far.
Bobby, you hear the hate. He's on your network, and he's picking Skylar.
Easily. Got 220 yards, 1 touchdown. One touchdown, 2 picks. Clearly can't see the field. One of the worst performances I've seen in a while, but I'm not going to go crazy on that. I also want to pick out the Chargers offense. Just Chargers coaching staff. Not running the ball in the second
Brandon
half.
Staley. That's 100%.
Just
Joe Lombardi, OC. Yeah, those two.
You have one of the best running backs in the world. And you decide to give him the ball 5 times in the second half on the ground. That's insane. That's like saying, hey, I have Marshall Faulk, like you alluded to earlier. We're just not going to use him. We're just not. That's just idiotic. It's so dumb. I feel like if they would have had 5 more carries, honestly, like legit, I feel like they would have won the game. It's not hard.
Yeah. No, I know. I definitely agree. If they would have done another 6-7 carries, they would have been able to eat more clock. And it came down to 3 seconds. Doug Peterson had it timed perfectly. And by the way, but the cojones on Doug Peterson to go for 2 and then come back and then put up the field goal, that was amazing.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wait, so he's just going to win or lose right here? Like, that's what I thought. And I'm like, they did it. Like, that's crazy. I could never do that.
Guy. He's always John Harbaugh, Doug Peterson. There's a small group, Dan Campbell, small group of coaches that would do that. Bill Belichick's another one that would go for it. Those kind of 4 or 5 coaches together to have the cojones to do that. And man, Peterson, he's got a ring for it. Who calls the Phillies special against the Patriots in the Super Bowl? Doug Peterson. All right, so we got about 10 more minutes. I do want to pivot over to some. Sorry to eat up more time. I Jack's love Duval.
Oh, Duval. But no, I do want to go into the wrestling because he did disannounce Cody Rhodes is into the Royal Rumble. I don't really want to get hardcore into Vince and the whole situation. I really don't. I'm over it. I'm just so sad. I if you don't know, Vince has come back, made himself board of the chairman of the board, made himself everything again. Stephanie was forced to quit or fired. Who knows at this point? He's trying to sell the
voluntold. Yeah.
Who knows? He's trying to sell the company to make it private, so therefore he can run it again with no one to answer to. That's exactly what's happening.
That's done. That fell through. It's over.
I know that's over, but
yeah,
that's the plan. That was his plan. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. I'm an AEW guy. I don't know if you watch AEW, partake in AEW. That's kind of the reason why I root for the Jaguars.
AEW.
I kind of
Tony
root
Khan,
for the,
baby.
yeah. I want to see Tony Khan hug Zay Jones. I want to see the whole thing. It's awesome. I just feel like since Vince came back, the seesaw was okay. This is WWE, the top side with Paul Levesque running it, and then Vince comes back. It's like, oh, they're even again. And then Adam Cole returns, like literally the next Dynamite, and I'm like, all right, it's back. We're back, baby. Adam Cole's back. This company's thriving. We have MJF as the champion. It's just crazy how the momentum. It's like a 14-point swing right there. Like just the momentum just shifted right back to AEW.
I know you're not a big, but would kind of tilt in AEW's favor. I know you're not a fan of this guy, but if Punk came back, and I know you're not a Punk guy, but in AEW's favor, it would, and if you make him do a heel turn, not this baby face, make him do a heel turn, join forces with MJF. I'm telling you, fans would eat it up.
See, I'm okay with him coming back and doing business if he's going to play ball, but he's proven that he can't play ball. He's never has, never will. We don't. No, I'm saying we as that's my team. Like AEW's my team, but like
it's my team too. I love AEW.
We just cleared up this whole drama, and I've watched every episode of Being the Elite. I don't know if you have. I kind of know their personality through the show.
Yeah,
the Bucks are kind of cocky, arrogant as well. So I believe half of Punk side, I believe half of the Elite side, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. I just don't think both teams, both sides can play ball together, and that's why I don't want them back. If they could agree to make money, and there's some, FTR and CM Punk versus the Elite, and there's some big feud because we heard it on Dax's FTR podcast where they should just work together. And before CM Punk kind of left, they were doing this little alliance that never really got kicked off. But that would be a great freaking, rivalry, but it's not going to happen because Punk won't. His ego's too big.
Yeah, sadly, I mean that's why he came back to AEW in the first place, because they needed kind of that mega push, and what better way to do a return than one of the most loved superstars from WWE go to AEW, and it's been proven now he can't play ball in WWE, he can't play ball in AEW, but if he can just suck up a little bit of his ego and just create like a heel stable with MJF, and oh my God, it would be perfect.
But do you think the fans would want him back? The AEW fan base is I've been to one event, and it was when Cody was feuding with Malachi, and it was in Orlando, and people were booing. This is around the same time where they were throwing this wrestling belt or his weightlifting belt back at him, all that crap. We were booing the crap out of Cody. We didn't want Cody there. We didn't want Cody in his position. But after the show ended, Cody gave the goodbye speech. Thanks for coming out. Yada yada. We all cheered him. You know why? Because we like Cody Rhodes the person. We didn't like Cody Rhodes the character. Whereas we didn't want him to be the Super Cena babyface winning the TNT title 1,000 times. CM Punk's the opposite. We don't like the person, but we like the wrestler. We like the character. So it's so hard with this lines being blurred with fans. We don't want Punk back in here, but yet we love his work. It's just we've never seen that before.
Josh.
I know. He's like, hey, this is what happens when you leave the podcast to Kimmel. We talk wrestling. I love it.
Wrestling is sports, sir. It's on Fox Sports 1 now. Sucker.
That's true.
I mean, I've been an AEW guy since it started. Obviously, I love Cody for Cody and who he is outside the ring. But yeah, Punk's, again, if he doesn't want to, I just miss heel Punk in WWE, and I feel like he would thrive as a heel in AEW because, and it wouldn't be stealing spotlight from MJF. It'd be kind of that, like how Sting is pushing over Darby Allin. It'd be kind of, if he was able to suck up a little of his ego and push MJ up as that extra super heel, because MJF is so good at it. He's just ridiculous at how good he is on the mic, and he flees the ring, tail tucked between his legs, and after he insults Daniel, or I'm sorry, I've always referred to it, Brian Danielson. Whoa. Man, I grew up with both versions, man. So it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
Especially NXT.
Tough. I always tell people, you don't get your AEW name until you earn it. To me, you're still Rusev. I'm sorry, because Miro, I don't like the way you're being booked. I don't like the way you're acting. So to me, you're Rusev. So Bryan Danielson is officially Bryan Danielson to me because he's doing his best work he's ever done.
The American
in
Dragon,
AEW.
yeah.
Yes, he's done his best work in his return. What would you think is a bigger impact for AEW? CM Punk return or Mercedes Moné signing and debut?
So Mercedes Moné, I've heard I believe it was she signed with NPJW, I think, and
In Stardom.
they partner together. So, man, if they can come out and sign her, that would be a huge FU to Vince because especially how big she was in WWE. Like that would be such a diva, huge swing because of how popular female wrestling has gotten in today's business. So I feel like that would be such a big swing over, especially with old X Page coming over. That's already been a huge boost too to the division.
Yeah. She's still Paige in my eyes, by the way.
Yeah, always. Jiraiya or whatever it is.
Yeah, I can't even pronounce her name. I just don't like what's happening in the women's division in AEW at all.
They need a boost.
They just need a problem. Like I was talking to my buddy Chris. I do this other show where it's on just a whatever independent one now. Where I was talking to him, I'm like, when you see Britt Baker and you see Jamie Hayter walk down the aisle, when you see them both walk down the aisle, Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, take the belt away. Take it away. Say, who's the champion? Who do you think is a champion? First time viewer. Is it Britt Baker or is it Jamie Hayter? And that's a problem. It's always been a problem. It's a Britt Baker division. It's kind of like how Charlotte's booked in WWE. That's a problem. Mm-hmm. She's either the champion or she's chasing the champion. She can't do anything else. And it's taking the spotlight away from Jamie Hayter's run, which I don't think she needs her anymore. I really don't.
No, she does need to be out from underneath her wings. Hayter she is a talented wrestler. Like to me, she does stuff that we don't see Britt Baker do. And Britt Baker's a talented wrestler in her own right.
Yes.
And she has that. That's one thing I do like about Britt. She has that nasty side to her. She has that little bit of extra. She'll be able to kind of take another notch up. But Hayter has more athletic upside, and I feel like that's what AEW needs in the women's division, for her to branch off.
I feel like they sign all these people, Ruby Soho, Athena, and then they have their bright spot, and then they're gone. You know, I thought it was going to happen with Toni Storm.
Take this role, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that if Mercedes Moné does come over, I feel like this will be the first woman to come over and she's a star, like a legit star.
I hope they don't push her aside like every other one. I really don't.
I don't think she would allow it. She wouldn't allow it. Look what she's the only person, her and Naomi, to stand up and say, F you, Vince, F you, WWE, we are leaving. Think about that. Sami Zayn, and it's their decision. He chooses to work for a company that does business with Saudi Arabia and has been pushed down the keys, and he's had a chance to leave, but he just stayed there. He just decided to stay for whatever reason. Whereas Mercedes said, fuck you guys. I'm bigger than you. I can handle this. So I don't think Tony could actually push her around like a Ruby Soho or someone like Athena.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen, I don't think. I just hope it wouldn't happen. I don't think it would happen, but I hope as well it won't.
Automatically the biggest star in AEW if she does come over. I told people the show would average 1 million viewers no matter what if she hops over. I love it.
I don't know. I feel, you know how WCW used to grab stars unknowingly and then just pop them on a show? I feel like Tony Khan needs to do that. I feel like someone coming up on free agency for WWE, he just needs to kind of and just throw them on there and no rumors, no nothing. Just they're there. Kind of like what WCW did with Scott Hall. When Razor Ramon supposedly left, the next thing you just start seeing this guy in jean jacket show up in the crowd, going up, interfering with matches. Like just start showing up, just doing stuff, and that terms of manner would be awesome. But actually, there was a rumor I remember a while ago. Kevin Owens possibly might have been leaving, and then he re-signed with WWE. I feel like Kevin Owens has AEW written all over him.
Yes, and of course, he's really good friends with the Bucks and the Elite and Kenny Omega. Like they go way back. And so does Sami Zayn, by the way. And I feel like, I was telling my buddy Chris, I feel like everyone that re-signed knew something was going to happen. Because remember, they re-signed around the same time this whole Vince thing was breaking, about 3 months or 4 months before. So I feel like they had a real, someone knew, hey, Vince is going. We're going to give you guys a huge push, Kevin and Sammy, which they have.
Triple H, Paul Levesque was a huge Kevin Owens backer, and Vince is the one I heard pulled him back.
And he was a huge backer of Sami Zayn as well. Sami Zayn's NXT run was phenomenal. His match with Nakamura is still one of my favorites of all time.
Honorary Oos right now. I know you don't like WWE, but come on. It's an awesome gimmick, and he's awesome with it.
Yeah, it's the best storyline going in wrestling. And it sucks that I'm not going to watch it anymore, but I just have to stick with it. I can't support it until Vince is gone or dead. Seriously.
Open your fingers a little bit. Just peek.
And I was so excited for WrestleMania season. I was so excited for Logan Paul versus whoever he's going to wrestle. I was excited for Cena versus Austin Theory. I know that's a rumored match, and that's what I want. That's what I want to see. I don't know. People don't like Austin Theory, but I think he's great. I don't know why people hate him.
It's because I guess he was attached to the whole Vince storyline, and now that the Vince storyline came along with the whole stuff outside of wrestling, they feel he might have been attached to that. But he was just going with the storyline in the ring, and he's branched off of that, and he's kind of taken this ultra heel turn where this mean streak, and I like it. I like that to it because that's what Kevin Owens had when he faced Cena, and Cena put him over.
Yep,
it's because he had that mean streak to him.
Yeah, and people forget Austin Theory was brought in by Triple H in NXT. He was a Triple H guy. So people need to chill on the hate just because of the whole Vince story and him being pushed down our throats. Yes, it sucked, but the way Vince or Triple H, because I have watched Raw and SmackDown up until Vince came back. I've only missed a week of shows. So I was really into it until that.
Supposedly, Triple H was going to leave if the deal did go down. If the Saudi Arabia deal went down, since Steph retired, Paul was ready to walk out the doors from what I was hearing. And that would have been huge. And I think that was one of the biggest things, especially the CEO, Nick Khan, was kind of like, please don't go. Vince, you cannot do this. Cancel the damn thing. We're about to lose our best guy. Because Paul's the one that's been pushing a lot of these storylines, and they've been getting better since Vince left. And it just, I don't know. I mean, and then I was hearing Paul was going to push AJ Styles back up a little bit and give him another title run. Yeah, and that changed everything.
Yeah, it did. Well, Dave Stave. Well, Stave. So that's my new name for you. Stave. I could talk wrestling literally for hours. But unfortunately, I do have to go as my kids are not in bed yet. And they need to start getting in bed because we got school tomorrow. This long
melatonin is a hell of a thing. Okay, I'm kidding. Just sprinkle in their dinner a little bit, and they start drowsing away in their spaghetti. Kidding, maybe.
But if you're still hanging on, you're still watching, please, and you haven't done it yet, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the alert, so when you know every single Monday night, you can find me 8:15 here on this network, FinStop Network. Go over to the Huddle Up and Wait. Hit that alert button. Hit the like button on their videos. Subscribe. 8:15 Thursday nights. Dave, it's been a pleasure. Please come on anytime. This has been great. And I do want to do a full wrestling show just to piss off Josh one time.
I'll gladly do it. I can talk wrestling for hours.
I want Josh here though for it. Just so he can what? When we went to the Senior Bowl last year, I made him and Brett watch AEW. Because I'm not missing this.
Okay, hold on. I don't know why Brett. See, most veterans I know that serve actually like wrestling. We know
Brett was into it.
It's BS, but
no, Brett was into it. It. Josh was like, "What is this crap?" But into it too. So it was a good time.
He drinks IPAs. He needs to be quiet. No, so hey, he might be ignoring us right now because Dallas is on the goal line. Is second and goal. They're up 6-0 on the Bucks right now. So,
ooh, yes. I'm actively rooting for the Cowboys. I didn't get your opinion on that. I'm in Tampa, by the way. I live in Tampa.
Okay, so little review. I got to see what Kellen Moore does here because Kellen Moore misuses that offense so much. It's so talented, and I feel like it's always run, pass, and it's so talented that you're not. There's just plethora of talent there, and last year in the 49ers game, plethora of talent, and Kellen Moore wanted to wait till the end of the game to try and call it correctly. Too little, too late. You ran out of time. I hope they take this game seriously because I don't care if it's Tom Brady at 45, Tom Brady at 85. It's playoff Tom, and the defense for Tampa is good. So I'm not. I picked Tampa to win. That's me, just because I've seen McCarthy in the playoffs these last couple of years. I saw him in the playoffs with Green Bay. So I'm going the Bucks just because of the defense, Tom's playoff experience, and Leonard Fournette. I mean, I know it's the second quarter, but we've seen Tom Brady come back from less than a 6-point deficit in the Super Bowl. So I can't sit there and not pick him until it changes otherwise.
Yep. All right, guys, we'll be here next week, 8:15, like I said, Monday night. Again, Dave Steger, find him on Twitter. Dave, what's your Twitter account handle?
It's at Stegen Cheese, STEG letter N cheese at Stegen Cheese.
Love it. And find me at Josh Kimmel OUS. Bobby, play our music. We're out of here.